You're now live.
Great. Thank you, Kayla. Great. Welcome, everybody. Well, welcome to our monthly Avening Hall meeting. Just want to start with our land acknowledgement. We are situated here tonight on the traditional territory of the Teonantate, Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe, which is now the home of diverse First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. We acknowledge the Indigenous peoples who cared for Turtle Island from before the arrival of settler peoples to this day, and we also acknowledge that Clearview Township is situated on land covered by Treaty 18 with the Anishinaabe. We are committed to moving forward in a spirit of reconciliation, truth, and respect. And going down the agenda here, we have our first item is the approval of the agenda. So the agenda has been sent out. Sent out a couple of weeks early because there's a lot of stuff to cover from lots of updates from the province and the township and the health unit from COVID updates. So that was sent out a little while ago. Is there anything that needs to be added? I think we need to add, I guess we could put that under, we wanted to talk about concerts. We could put that under public events in 5.2. Anything else anybody wanted to talk about tonight? All right, need a mover and a second. Great, thanks. Need a mover and a seconder for the agenda then. Melanie, perfect.
Seconder, myself, Bill.
Great, and okay, I got Karen. Karen got her hand up first there, so I'll go with Karen for that one. And any further discussion before we go to the vote? Hearing none. All in favor? Great. Consider the agenda carried. And anyone at this time need to disclose a disqualifying interest? Perfect. Hearing none. Approval of the minutes from September 23rd. Again, they were sent out a couple of weeks ago. Is there any questions or omissions? Anything anyone noticed with the minutes? All right, get a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes that were distributed. Melanie and Gary, any opposition to the minutes? Perfect, we will consider those carried. Moving right along. So the business arising, the fundraising subcommittee met in early, we just met, get my calendar open here. Just met a couple of weeks ago on the 7th of, I guess that was a few weeks ago now, 7th of October. And we kind of hammered out some plans for the what we want to do. We want to kind of, the goal of the fundraising committee, we decided, was to sort of get everything ready for when we had approval. We didn't want to start any fundraising obviously before getting approval from the township and making sure that everything was a go. But we kind of wanted to set everything up. We talked about having like a direct ask to members of the community. We talked about having a corporate sponsorship program, as well as having a series of events. So kind of a three-pronged approach. Trina Burlow was appointed or was elected the chair of the fundraising committee. Anything I'm missing, Sarah, Karen? We don't really have any like minutes, but that was kind of the gist of the conversation. It's about an hour. We're meeting again next week or soon.
I think we'll have a fairly comprehensive plan after our next meeting.
Yeah.
That we would bring, I mean, before we took any action, we would bring it to the board for approval, obviously.
Yes, that was certainly discussed as well at the fundraising committee. Was that everything would come back to the board for approval for sure. All right, well, if there's anything that needs to be, needs any ideas or anything that needs to be taken, please feel free to pass it along and we'll make sure that it gets discussed. All right, public events. So we had a good discussion at our last meeting about people's people's comfort levels and just the way the kind of the first month had gone, and when we had been kind of open again, and it was quiet. I think things are sort of starting to you know, I don't know about rentals, but certainly people are starting to kind of get out more, I think. Claire did send a rental update. She couldn't be here tonight, but she did kind of send a bit of a brief note, and I'll look at that. I'll read that in a second. Yeah, so I think we need to maybe just have more of a discussion. We do have a few concerts scheduled for November at the hall, and Sarah, do you want to talk about kind of the thoughts on running the concerts and what your proposal is, or what your plans are for that?
So currently public events are allowed to go ahead, and in event space is at 100% capacity. So Bill and Trina and I sort of sat down and talked about how we could effectively implement all of the protocols that would be expected, reduce the number of volunteers that would be required to run it, and also talk about a capacity that we would feel comfortable with, as well as what we thought our audience would feel comfortable with. So, you know, we know that we have to check vaccines. We know we have to contact trace. We understand what the municipal requirements are in terms of opening a facility. There is a safety plan that Amanda's circulating to the halls, with each of us able to kind of make amendments to meet our needs, I guess. So personally, I feel comfortable that I can oversee a concert in a way that's consistent with public health recommendations. But I think we need kind of the blessing of the board to go ahead with that. I don't know. Does anybody have any questions about what we thought we could do? I think we have, knowing that there was hesitation of our board members to volunteer for the concerts, Trina's been able to find the volunteers that we need. And also we have made changes. We'll be serving cans as opposed to poured drinks to reduce contact, service time, and the number of volunteers required. We do have a step-by-step plan that we've written down. If anybody needs to see that, I'm happy to share it. But the three of us feel confident that it can be done safely and legally too now. So
yeah, well, for sure. So we talked about, one of the things we talked about was having an outside, basically we wouldn't set up tables in the basement like we have done in the past. The basement would essentially be like where the screening happened, and we would set up sort of, I think we were thinking 3 screening stations, so 3 kind of computers there along in the basement, so that people could come in and then be distanced and go through the vaccine passport and check in and contact tracing and all that sort of stuff. And then outside we were going to set up the firefighters tent, and to have an outdoor area so people could go outside to eat, and if they wanted to it would be part of the liquor license as well, so we could have alcohol outside. I've contacted Amanda about the township's barriers to go to kind of cordon that area off, so it was enclosed as well. And then we were going to have chairs and set up upstairs as well, so, and try and keep people to as much as possible. It's going to be, I think, we got to be a little bit realistic about human behavior at concerts as well. But I think we, as much as possible, try and get people to stay within their cohort and with their people, and be masked at all times, if not taking a sip of a drink or something. So, yeah.
So I guess the request here is just to have the board, approve that we can go ahead with these plans, or if they have any questions, need more information, we can certainly provide it.
Yeah. Is there any other any questions? So go ahead, please, John.
Yeah, so you feel fully confident that the protocols are going to be met throughout these concerts?
Yeah, I have the experience. I've already run a big fundraiser out at the new farm where we implemented protocols and welcomed over 1,000 people together. So I'm really familiar with this. I've worked directly with Simcoe Muskoka Health Unit to create a safety plan. I've created a similar safety plan for this. We will do everything we can. We'll have all the proper signage. By creating the outside space, we have a nice friendly way of asking people if they do want to be unmasked, then we can push them towards an outdoor space if they want to be masked and social. So we think we've created sort of a plan that's realistic, congenial, and will, you know, meet some fundraising needs as well.
That's good.
We have one thing I should tell you is that because we will be running at reduced capacity, so we won't have the sort of crowds that we normally have, and this is made possible in part by the brewery. They are going to be ensuring that we're able to pay the bands fully, and so that's a big relief, because right now with the current capacities, paying the bands would be problematic. We're not going to be going to 220. We'll be doing about 170, I think, is kind of where we feel is a realistic amount of space to give people. And that's what we kind of felt comfortable with, but that is less than what we are allowed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about, well, it's a little more than 2/3, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, we're seeing within Clearview, we are already seeing people in the arena. We're seeing the Coyotes games. So
yeah, there was about 400 people at the. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
With the current protocols, we're up to 100% now, aren't we?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. For concert venues, yes.
Our capacity is upstairs and downstairs, total combined space. So you can't have them all upstairs, because then we're not following protocol, because that's not your upstairs and downstairs space.
I think upstairs is too
So
high.
I would agree with you keeping your number. Your numbers aren't 220. It's 220 for the full capacity of the building. That includes your square feet of the downstairs.
Yeah. So that's why we felt like we'll just.
So you can't have them all upstairs at one time.
Yes, I have heard that. So 170, I think, would probably, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure that out.
Well, I mean, you got to figure out your what you're allowed and your capacity for upstairs as part of the square footage of the building.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we need to know what the upstairs and what the downstairs is, but I think upstairs 170 seems very reasonable. We'll do some measurements.
There should be something in the hall stating what your upstairs and downstairs capacity is.
well, there used to be. I don't know if it's got tore down. Lots of paperwork goes missing in any public facility.
Mm. We haven't seen anything official since the 104 fiasco, as I call it.
Oh yeah, back a while ago.
Maybe Claire has something, but I don't know.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Karen, please.
So I'm comfortable in, the safety plans that we or the ECHO put together. I just don't know. I wasn't at the last meeting, so I'm not sure if it has been discussed or not. But who's responsible for approving the safety plans of our renters? Does that fall on us, or do we refer back to township staff? Do we run it by our health unit rep, or do we insist that we have a template for what that safety plan looks like, and that's what has to be used?
So the safety plan that was developed, that I brought to the board back in August, just looking for it here. We talked about it. We talked about it here at our meeting in late August, early September. Maybe it was like very early September, and we didn't approve it at the board level so that it could adjust to current health regulations. And in that safety plan, it talked about. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull it up. It talked about the renters. It talked about the renters having to adhere. It basically laid out, what everyone's responsibility was, and what the hall board's responsibility was, what the township's responsibility was, so on and so forth. I can pass that along again to you.
Yeah, do you mind circulating that?
Yeah, sure. I'll recirculate it, and it lays out what the event organizers are responsible for. I mean, it does need to be updated now, of course, because of the contact tracing that's and the passport that's in place. I mean, sorry. So it needs to be updated a little bit for that. Amanda did send out some information just like in the last day or so, basically saying that there's more information coming with regards to there's a regulation that's I think it's still even being passed about reopening and capacity limits in halls and things like that. So yeah, so we're waiting for a few things that would affect the safety plans, but I'll resend this for sure. Yeah. Any other questions?
How many concerts we got going between November and December?
So currently we have 3 on the books. We have one on the 20th, and then we have another on the 26th and another on the 27th. So currently we have, for the first concert, it's sold out with Elliott Brood at 170. The Friday concert, we have 65 tickets sold. And then the Hannah Georges on the Saturday, we have 95 tickets sold. So it's important for me to understand if we can go ahead, because at this point, I'd either like to refund or start pushing so I can sell those other 2 concerts so that we have enough people in the hall to make pay all the bills as well as make some money at the bar. Because with only if we only have 65 people, we'd be lucky to make back the liquor permit basically.
And do we need a motion for this or just a consensus?
I think we should have a motion for it, because we have opened at this point. We have passed a motion to open for private rentals, but we haven't opened for public larger public events at this point. I think maybe the prudent thing to do would be to like have if we're gonna have a public event, to hold it ourselves with people we know and trust, and who have shown a track record of being able to run a good event, and who are kind of our people, so to speak, and then see how it goes. I think that I mean, it sounds like there's going to be just between now and the spring, things will be opening more and more. So yeah. So maybe we should have a motion to go ahead with the scheduled or the concerts that have been organized through the Avening Hall Board.
So moved.
Great. And a seconder, Melanie. Great. And all in favor? Great. We'll consider that carried. Perfect. Thanks, Tina. Gotcha. All right. Proof of vaccination clarification. So keeping on the same topic, basically, here. So this was in Kayla's email package that was sent out. Basically, this goes along directly with kind of what you were talking about, Karen, as well, about the safety plan. So basically vaccination, it's the responsibility of the owners of facilities to make sure that contact tracing for each guest is achieved. So the word owners is interesting in our case, of course. I think that I think that's kind of one of the things that we're you know, we're looking to, like if for example, I don't know, not that there's a junior farmers anymore, but if the junior farmers had a dance, would the Avening Hall Board or the township have to be on site to do the proof of vaccination? Like, I think there's some logistics there that need to be worked out. So I think can read through this information. Like it says, you know, Terry's message, Terry Vachon's message says this is a huge challenge for us. I think that basically he says here, Hall Board should give some serious thought how to train yourselves properly prior to providing rentals. So it is a challenge for sure. And it's, you know, it's one of those things. I mean, when I went to the Coyotes game the couple of Saturdays ago, and it was the organization that was checking the vaccine passports and things then. So I don't know where you know, to me, it would be the people who are running the event. Like if they're running an event, if they're having, you know, a large event like that, and they've got public coming in, I think that it's up to them to have the to make sure that they're doing it right, and we have to oversee that they know what they have to do. You know, we certainly talked at the last meeting about you know, about our comfort levels of going in and when there's lots of other people there and that sort of thing. So so yeah, that would definitely be stand in the way of something like this. The second thing came from John Ferguson, CAO. Basically, it talks about, you know, a few more details. Sorry, about some of the policies that are in place in Clearview for the vaccination policy. Basically, oh no, this is regards to being a volunteer. You needed to have your vaccination. You have provided your vaccination. So so yeah, so if you're going to be at the volunteering at the hall, you need to send your proof of vaccination to Tammy Gill, and Sarah will have to do that for all of our volunteers. Just we better put that in the back of our minds as well. Yeah. So, and then I did get an email from Amanda on Tuesday, basically that I already talked about. So so there's a meeting later this week at the health unit with to review the regulation. Oh, it's to review the regulation, and they're going to be providing us with more information about vaccine passports and any other resources that we will need to run our events. Yeah. Anyways, all those documents were sent to you in the package from Kayla. Is there any other questions that need to be asked or we can direct to someone? All right. Rental update. So Claire says that at this point there are no new rentals. She's unable to be here tonight, and she's just got some. She's got the keg fridge out for repairs, and and the hall will be clean by the middle of the month. So that's Claire's report. Financial report, Karen.
Okay, I thought I would just drop into the chat recent expenses. I guess for the sake of the recording, I'll say it out loud as well. Okay, so I don't think I've reported out on September 19th yet, but September 19th, City and Country Pest Control in the amount of 67.80. September 27th, Premort Home Hardware, 60.40. October 5th, Sally Fraser, 300. Also October 5th, the reimbursement to Claire Oster for some test strips. And October 12th, City and Country Pest Control for 339 total. I unfortunately don't have an updated statement. I've inquired about getting the last couple. So I'll report back when I do, but relatively quiet on the financial front.
Great. Any questions for Claire? Go ahead, please. Yep. Thanks, John.
Not for Claire, but back to the hall rentals. You planning on opening up the bowling alleys this season, or are you gonna leave that for another season?
We haven't had, I don't know if there's been any requests from the league. I'm not sure. Maybe we should ask if the league would like to start up again. Anyone have any? Oh, go ahead.
I'm curious if there, how there's guidance documents provided by the province and the health unit for different areas. I'm curious if I mean, I've never looked to see if there's anything for bowling facilities, but if there are any particulars in there that we need to have in mind.
I mean, the curling clubs are opening up. I'm pretty sure the bowling alley in Collingwood is opening or is running at some capacity.
Yeah,
Obviously they've got multiple lanes and more space.
Yeah.
I guess
Go
we would
ahead,
have to
Lori.
make sure that our pin setters are willing to be there for that.
Yes.
Before we decide if we want to open, we might want to ask them if they're prepared to do it.
Yep.
And are there specific, cleaning requirements above and beyond the facility?
I don't think so. Other than, like nothing super special. I think just at least from my experience in the schools, there's not a ton of extra cleaning. It's mostly around, most of the concern is around air handling, and again, just making sure people wear their proper PPE, so they're wearing masks indoors, hand hygiene, and just maintaining space as much and as best you can. Obviously, if we were running the bowling league, people coming in would have to show proof of full vaccination, as well as any volunteers that were pin setters and that sort of thing. So it's yeah. So I think other than maybe door handles,
all high touch areas have to be wiped down on a regular basis. And that's part of the standard. So
Bowling balls,
all door handles, the bowling balls. Because if they're all going to be handling it, they're going to have to be wiped down. So.
but that's one thing that the Avening Hall is known for. It's bowling leagues still going on, the only one left in the township. So whether we want to carry on with that or leave it another year.
I guess we need to maybe ask the questions. Like, we need to ask the pin setter, we need to ask the community if they want it. Then we'll have to figure out how to make it happen. So does somebody want to kind of take that on to report back for the next meeting?
I'm happy to inquire with the health unit and do some of the research to see if there's any specific info in the guidance documents.
Great. Okay.
Phil, I can check with the bowling alley on base 2 to see what their protocols are, because I believe
Sure.
they're open.
That'd be great. Thanks,
Okay.
Gary. All right. New business.
No.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Ed.
Does anybody know who bowls on the afternoon, ladies?
I do not.
I only know that my mom does, but she said something about she wasn't going to be interested in doing it this year, so.
Right.
Often the copper. Copper makes it easy to.
Okay. Well, if we get some information on kind of what the regulations are, then we can sort of maybe I'll send Clara a message and see if she can ask our pin setter and kind of ask around the community a little bit. So we have talked a little bit about the vaccination policy. I'm gonna just put this up though. So this is from John Ferguson. Sorry, I thought it was regarding, when I talked about it earlier, I thought it was regarding the vaccination passport. There's too many things about vaccination right now. So anyhow, everybody needs to submit their, it's supposed to be by the 8th, have submitted your vaccination status or eligible exemption to hr@clearview.ca. Basically, you're going to upload your proof of vaccination dose receipt that you got when you had your second shot, and that needs to be sent in. And so that's for that is for all board members and volunteers. For policy applies to all township employees, volunteers, students, and contractors or consultants. So anybody who's working for the hall board, we're going to be at the hall. Okay. I'm going to make sure that Claire has sent a copy of that to Sally as well. Does anybody have any questions about that? I sent mine in, it was pretty easy.
I don't really have a question. I'm kind of surprised that they're asking to see it. My employer did not want me to submit mine. I was only visually had to show it. We were not allowed to submit or ask our employees for anything to be submitted. So I'm kind of surprised they actually want a copy of it.
Yeah, they're actually not supposed to be able to keep it. It's a legal health document. They're not supposed to be able to have a physical copy of it. You go into any healthcare system like nursing homes and all that, you just show they're not allowed to keep a copy of it. So I think we should clarify that. Then maybe John, you could ask about that, because maybe for their employees, but I don't think they're allowed to have it for volunteers.
They just need to see proof that you got it. So
well, that's fine, but I mean, then they have the legal document and it's out there in cyberspace that they're not allowed to have. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, whether we.
It's only being sent. It's, oh, sorry, go ahead, Kayla.
No worries. It's my understanding that it's done just that way as proof of vaccination, and then it's removed. So they basically see it and then tick your name off, and it's not kept. That's my understanding, to prevent a whole bunch of people coming in and congregating at the wickets on the days that we are open. That's my understanding of it.
That was my understanding too. It was a one-time thing. They took it, they looked at it, and they got rid of it.
Maybe
Yeah,
they could email us that with that confirmation that they are going to delete it then.
Yeah. Or accept just a Zoom call where we can show it in the camera.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
They just need to see it.
they can do that over a Zoom call.
Yeah, I think those are excellent suggestions, and I highly suggest reaching out to Tammy. I think she just kind of went with what she thought was best at the time, just considering all the craziness of it. But I really like those suggestions, and I think that she would seriously consider them.
What's your name again, please?
It's Tammy Gill, so it's
Okay.
TGILL at clearview.ca.
So when I sent mine in, she just confirmed that she received it, and yeah, that was it. I mean, I know I had to send my full thing in for to the school board back in September. So yeah. Anyways, I didn't.
Well,
Yeah.
I just know when we were going to the nursing home, that was part of their mandate that they were not allowed to keep a physical copy. They could only view it, and that was it.
Yeah,
Right.
nobody's allowed to keep a physical copy of it.
It does.
Except for
So it
yourself.
says right. It says right here on the on this sheet. It says. It says if you prefer to provide a hard copy, please contact Tammy Gill. Using the above email address maintains confidentiality of your medical information, is only accessible by the human resource manager. So that's Tammy. Yeah, so that's all right there in the document too. So that's one of the things that was in the package sent out by Kayla 2 weeks ago, and again last week. Yeah. And it's called Board Committee Memo and COVID-19 Vaccination Policy. September 24th, 2021 is the date on it. But please feel free to contact Tammy. I'll put those, I will put those email addresses in the chat. So that you have those. Okay. So if you have an eligible exemption or any other questions, you can contact Tammy there through either of those email addresses. Okay. Any other new business?
I'm a little concerned about the rollout of the garbage cans. Where are we going to put them? The plow person that does this area is not overly conscientious about where they are plowing the snow down there. I'm not hauling those things out through 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
I just don't know where, like, or can we get them to go down and have a look at it, the 3 laneways during the summertime, like before the snow flies, know where to, that they can clear that one, kind of the middle one off, and I can set the garbage cans there. And I
think
like, I know they have to be separated and they've got to be off the road and blah, but I mean, that the shoulder's not overly wide there.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of need a commitment of what they're going to clean.
And they're, but like the one to the north end, like that's a road. That's a roadway, which they don't go down, but that is strictly like that's a road. And then the one at the south end, I mean, they kind of come in and go out that one there. I just think we just need to think about how we're gonna put those out for, you know. It's just a,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
just a
just
thought
trying
of,
to look up where the bin, how the bins are supposed to, because they're supposed to basically be on the, they're supposed to be in front of the, if there's a snowbank, it's supposed to be in front of the snowbank, like on the side of the road.
They can't be on the plow portion of the road. They have to be 8 feet off the road so the plow doesn't hit them. And they're 2 feet beside each other.
yeah, so that's gonna take up, the north laneway is a road, so I can't put them there. The south laneway is the driveway, because they don't tend to plow the center one ever. I just don't know where we're gonna put them. But they're not gonna be, they're either gonna have to be on the road or they're gonna have to make arrangements for the garbage company to actually come into the parking lot of the hall and collect them there.
What time does the parking lot usually get plowed?
No, that depends on whether the bus runs or not.
Oh.
There's no hurry to get this end of the township plowed. Lots of days, and it's sometimes they're here at 6 in the morning. Sometimes
Yeah.
they don't show up till noon.
Yeah.
So it's just thought, a thought process. I think we better think about what we're gonna have to do for putting those bins out. Like, you know, it's just simply because they're actual roadways is where we have to set them. So
Yeah, because last winter they were going right over the grass area into by the front steps there, weren't they? They weren't going down the laneway.
well, sometimes they would put the wing out and kind of tear up the grass there, and then they, you know, like there is that middle laneway, they weren't clearing it at all. I was throwing the garbage kind of up on the snowbank when there wasn't a whole lot. There was just the odd time there was stuff, but I know we just have to think about it for a little while and see what kind of a plan we're going to come up with.
Okay.
Maybe we need to use the time between now and hopefully weeks and weeks away before snow flies to figure out, you know, what works just for us and the garbage pickup. And then if we find something that works, then we insist that the plow has to, you know, accommodate that.
Yeah.
So it looks like now obviously this is, oh, here's a winter one. So yeah, here's what I was looking at, 2 feet of space clear around. So I guess I misunderstood. So we can't put it on top of a snowbank, can't put it behind a snowbank, can't have it buried, and it's not supposed to be on the road. So basically we've got to find a spot. So maybe the north side of that road, like where the people in the White House usually put their garbage. I mean, it's not, yeah, we're gonna have to see. The instruction here is if there's no paved shoulder, it just goes on the side of the road, but off the road, and then the bins are 2 feet apart. Yeah, because it looks like I guess the whole point, and John, you've probably seen the demonstrations or whatever, like the truck has to like actually grab them and fling the bins up into the truck.
Yeah, he's got an 8-foot arm on the truck that he can reach out, and he's got a little claw that grabs them and then just lifts them up and dumps them into the truck and sets them back down.
Right.
Well, if we could assure that the garbage or the snowplow operator would would plow that center laneway, we could use that as our garbage spot. And then no vehicles need to come in and out of that one because there's other access from the north and the south one. But they've got to be instructed then to actually plow it. Because
Yeah.
I'm not shoveling.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm too old to shovel.
well, with those banks, they're almost. I think a fit person, a young, fit, healthy person would have trouble plowing those, trouble shoveling those, I should say. All right. So, okay. So yeah, we're gonna have to kind of. So maybe John, you could, if you don't mind, just inquiring about that, about the because it is done by the township works department, with the plow for our snow removal. That'd be great.
I'll talk to Dan and Joel and discuss that with them.
Thank you. Anything else people want to discuss tonight? So next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, the 25th.
Still comfortable or not?
How do people feel about that date?
I can volunteer. I'm getting out more than you.
Not a concert.
I won't be able to make it. I'll be at work.
Okay.
Sorry, what was the date?
The 25th of November. Thursday, the 25th.
I can probably do it.
No big. So Jennifer can't make it. Do we want to delay it a week and into December, and then maybe just one more meeting for the year? We will have closed out our concerts at that point, I think. You can report on that.
I'm fine either way.
You do have a scheduled subcommittee meeting on the 2nd.
Oh, geez, subcommittee. All right. Okay, we'll go with the 25th then, I suppose. All right, Thursday the 25th at 7:30. Motion to adjourn. Ed and Melanie.
No question.
Oh, sorry, question. Sorry, Ed. Misunderstood.
I'm,
Please.
I'm still not comfortable in volunteering currently at this time.
Okay,
That's just a statement, not a.
sure.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other, anything else before we move to adjourn? All right, motion to adjourn. Great. Tina and Melanie, thank you.